There are stories in our world that remind us how powerful the human mind can be, even when the body begins to fail. Today's story is one of those moments, a quiet, extraordinary journey of a man who refused to let his imitations define him. Stephen Hawking was born in Oxford in 1942. From the beginning, people noticed something unique about him: his curiosity. He wasn't the loudest child, but he was the one who asked the deepest questions. How does the universe work? Why does time move forward? He wondered about things most of us never stop to think about. As he grew older, his talent became impossible to ignore. At just 17, he entered Oxford University. He wasn't known for studying non-stop. In fact, he preferred taking things easy, but even with minimal effort, he stood out. His professors said he was the kind of student who didn't just answer questions. He rewrote them. After Oxford, he continued his studies at Cambridge, dreaming of uncovering the mysteries of the universe. But then, life changed in a way no one could have imagined. At 21 years old, Stephen began losing control of his muscles. He fell more often, his hands shook, and simple tasks suddenly became difficult. Doctors ran tests again and again until they finally delivered the diagnosis: ALS, a motor neuron disease. And along with it, a heartbreaking prediction. He had only 2 years left to live. For a young man who dreamed of exploring the universe, the world suddenly felt unbearably small. Stephen fell into a deep depression. He wondered if there was any point in continuing his studies or planning for a future he might never see. But then, something changed. He met Jane Wilde, a woman whose optimism was so bright that it cut through even the darkest parts of his fear. She didn't see a dying man. She saw someone worth fighting for. And because she believed in him, Stephen began to believe in himself again. He returned to his research with new determination. If time was limited, he decided he would use every moment well. As his body weakened, his mind grew sharper. He worked tirelessly, often lost in calculations that stretched late into the night. His ideas became the foundation of what would later transform modern physics. One of those ideas was his groundbreaking work on black holes. Stephen proposed something radical: that black holes weren't completely black at all, but actually released energy. This radiation would later be known as Hawking radiation, a concept that changed the way scientists understood the universe. But even as his ideas soared, his body continued to decline. Eventually, Stephen lost his ability to speak. For most people, that would have been the end. But for him, it became another beginning. With the help of technology, he regained a voice, a computerized one, robotic yet unmistakably his. And with that voice, he inspired millions. He wrote A Brief History of Time, a book that brought the mysteries of the cosmos to everyday readers. It sold more than 25 million copies and turned him into a global symbol of resilience and brilliance. Stephen often joked that despite everything, his life had been pretty good. He laughed, he worked, he traveled the world in his wheelchair, sharing ideas that pushed humanity forward. And perhaps his most powerful message was this: where there is life, there is hope. Stephen Hawking lived not 2 years, but more than 5 decades after his diagnosis. He reshaped modern physics, challenged our understanding of reality, and showed the world that the mind can remain boundless even when the body cannot. As we remember his journey, we are reminded of something simple yet profoundly true. Limitations don't define us. Choices do. And Stephen Hawking chose, every single day, to keep asking questions, keep searching, and keep dreaming beyond the boundaries of time and space. And maybe that is the quiet truth his life leaves with us. That even in a fragile body, a limitless mind can still rise. That even in the face of uncertainty, curiosity can stay alive. And that hope, the kind he carried so stubbornly, can outshine even the darkest predictions. Stephen Hawking once said, "Look up at the stars, not down at your feet." He spent his life doing exactly that, reaching outward, thinking bigger, and reminding us that wonder is something we never have to lose. So as we close his story tonight, maybe we can do the same. Look up. Take a breath. Remember that no matter where you are, there is still room to grow, to learn, to imagine something more. Because the universe he loved so deeply is the same universe we're standing in now, wide open and waiting for the next question.